It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 2, starting at verse 33, and it reads, Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachakadas Bakatah. I want to give double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's your brother Yahweh up out of the GMS Cleveland Church of Fellow Servant. And I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So I was looking at my Newsbreak app, and I came across an article in regards to, DJ Trump. And I'm just let you. I didn't mean to do that. That's some bullshit. Bear with me for a second. That's the Spirit though, because this wasn't really like an article that popped up in my notifications for Newsbreak. It was like it's other articles in Newsbreak if you maneuver through the app, and it was like an article I found, and I made a mistake and misplaced it. But then when I went to go look it back up, it gives you more detail. So that was the article, was Donald Trump's father in the KKK. But then this one goes into more detail. It says Donald Trump isn't the first Trump to get arrested. His father, Fred, was arrested twice, reports say, once at a Ku Klux Klan riot and another time over building code violations. So, it's funny how all these things coming out to light. And, that's why I started with that scripture in the Jeremiah chapter 2, because it says, Why trimmest thou thy ways to seek love? And that's what our people do. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. You trim the ways of the Lord to seek recognition and love for your enemy, from your enemy. When this devil despises you, this devil hates your guts. He's in the proper spirit. You know what I mean? It's you people, that's been, what's the word? Stockholm syndrome, where you literally trying to seek affection from your captor, your oppressor. So, I'm going to get it, because I made some statements. I'm going to just bring them statements out. I'm going to read a little bit of the article. This is the book of Genesis chapter 27. And where's the point? The point is verse 41, because at the end of the day, this man, we know through the Spirit, and we believe that, Esau Edom is who you ignorantly call the so-called white man today. And, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians are the true Israelites. And know why this makes so much sense is because when we were everything else, it was okay. It's only until we got to calling ourselves the people of the book that it became an issue. It's even coming out that those fake ass Khazars, those Jewish people, look like those gutter rats. It's so spiritual how the elders. I mean, because I got that from the elders. My elders call them gutter rat, and we kind of parrot it. But then it coming out that they got all these tunnels up under their synagogues, under their churches, just like rats. And then I remember somebody posted it. They got this like a statue of an alligator snatching a child into the sewers, and it's right in that area where that church, that church pretty much, that was all through the Spirit, and they could be used both ways. I remember a brother was speaking on that in the camp. He was in the Spirit too, because he said, they can go so many ways with that, because ultimately it's the will of Yahweh Shem Shah. But you got to remember, they was pushing that whole, the technology to track your child. That's what they, with the C-hip, that's one of the reasons why, they trying to promote the C-hip, because they say, with this technology, you could use that to know where your child is at all times, and not understanding that that's actually serves a bigger purpose. But this is the so-called white man hates you so-called niggas, and it's scriptural, but it's also, it's not coincidental. It's spiritual, you know, because his forefather hated, Jacob. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27. I'm gonna just get to the point because, in the account is, they saying, but it's spiritual though, because it was spiritually set up for Esau to sell his birthright. You got to remember, he felt he was tricked out of it, but he sold it. So when they literally say that, oh, Jacob was this, Jacob was that, was he really? If you literally got a spiritual blessing and you basically forego your spiritual blessing over something carnal, then you wasn't a very spiritual person in the beginning. And that's what makes a lot of things line up. Esau isn't a spiritual person. You know what I mean? He's more so a carnal person. Yeah, he'll do some left hand spiritual stuff, but he's more carnal. That's why he wants to do censuses. That's why he wants to create a system to put a device in everybody's, forehead or in their hand. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and verse 36. And he said, is not Salakia. The point, I'm going straight to the point. Salakia is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Verse 42. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. And these devils been proposing to kill us ever since then. They'll use you. The scriptures talk about he will use thee if he have need for thee. So they'll use you. They use us to this day. Brothers was going in on that at camp. That's why you got these SAT tests, and you got, certain people come to, certain inner city schools because they spot the talent. You don't think it's going to be Jakes involved when, they're going to be trying to take Jakes in them bunkers. The scriptures talk about that in the book of Isaiah. All those that are joined unto him shall be thrust through. That's how diabolical Esau is, because he literally, he creates those, like the U.S. Army created certain shooter games, first-person shooter games, when you play as a soldier, and they track the scores of certain individuals on there. And if you good enough, that was a tool for recruitment. This is the book of Psalm chapter 137 and verse 7, and it reads, remember, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. And, Esau's name was later changed to Edom. So, the Edomites are the descendants of Esau. Going to the word raise it, because he's going to pretty much show you his mindset towards you, Jakes.
Strong's H 6168. Ara.
And it reads, Ara, to be bare, be new, uncover, leave, destitute, discover, empty, raise, pour out, to bear, lay bare, to lay bare by emptying, to empty, to pour out, to make naked, strip bare of sexual offense, to pour out, to be poured out, to be exposed, to expose oneself. So basically it says to leave bare, empty, to destroy, completely destitute. That's what it said, destitute. This is the mindset that these people have towards you. Yet still, you got our people talking about, can we all be along, and, why y'all feel this way towards the so-called white man? You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me. Because like I said again, when you understand the history, and that just show you what kind of weak-ass vibration most of our people on. You know what I mean? You still get the crumbs and the scraps of everything. A nigga think he doing good if you get some food stamps and the stimulus. That's why it's going to be so many people that going to fall for this UBI. which, is smooth how the Lord doing it, because at a time when people need, help, this ain't just, like everybody's barely making it. But that's not true too, because like I said, I just was watching or reading a part of an article about McDonald's. McDonald's basically said that they had to, they lost a lot of their low income customers. So now they got to come up with affordable, food items. They said that they, as far as the middle class and the higher class, upper class, it didn't affect them. It just affected the low class. So verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. So just like how the Most High basically put us into the hands of these devils, because basically these Edomites is the modern day Babylonians. It say, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be and taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. And that's, it counts in history where you had the Spaniards dashing, the tribe of Ephraim against the stones. The Taino Indians, brothers was going into that in the study, you know what I mean? Like they did a whole bunch of atrocities. I remember the brother showed a depiction of, they had it was like a gallows where they would hang you, but it wasn't short enough for you to basically be strangled to death, but it was short enough for you to just be able to not strangle to death, but then they had fire up under your feet at the same time. Like, how cruel that is? So yeah, something wrong with you if you feel that you want to live in peace, or in conjunction with these people after the atrocities that they have done. The scriptures talk about the Most High God's judgment the Most High God's judgment is as a ring. So meaning how a ring is shaped in a circle, what goes around comes around. In the book of Galatians, you shall sow what you reap. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article. It says, Trump was arraigned on Tuesday and faces 34 felony counts. We don't want that. It says, however, he's not the first person in his family to be arrested, according to archive news reports. His father, Fred Trump, was a real estate mogul who was detained by the police once in 1927 and another time in 1976, per newspaper articles published in those years. Donald Trump wasn't born when the first arrest occurred, but he was 30 and working for his father firm at the time of the second. Now, the first arrest, I guess, was 1927. Arrest, Ku Klux Klan riot in New York City. Fred Trump was arrested in 1927 during a Ku Klux Klan riot in Queens, New York on Memorial Day. Ain't that something? That day, 1,000 Klansmen marched in Queens to decry the deaths of 2 Italian fascists in the city, the Times wrote. They earlier littered the streets with handbills accusing the police of beating native-born Protestant Americans and called for residents to take your stand in defense of the fundamental principles of your country. Liberty and democracy have been trampled upon when native-born Protestant Americans dared to organize to protect one flag. Yada, yada, yada. The Klansmen were met by some 100 policemen, and both parties clashed in a free-for-all battle. The Times wrote, when the dust settled, Fred Trump was one of the 7 men arrested per the Times. That's all we really want. So, now it's been speculated that this guy, DJ Trump, is a racist. And, at the end of the day, he is, you know what I mean? Like, what's that chick, Omarosa? Which she thought she had one up on him because, she chose to work for this fucking devil, and then come to find out she's seen his true nature, so she tried to call herself recording him. And a lot of people don't even know this. And it didn't even work. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't care about, she had physical evidence of him talking about how he felt about so-called black people. But you got niggas like Steve Harvey that went to go see this man in person. You had niggas like Kanye West wearing "Make America Great Again" hat, which this nigga, I'm glad it's not me. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what these people going through. At the end of the day, he a clown in a lot of ways. When you get so big to a point, you can't, your voice is basically what could you say? Like they can silence your voice because now the thing is they don't have too much on him like that because the most they could have had done is pretty much take his money away from him. You know, I was listening to that chick. I can't think of that one chick name. She used to. I forgot who she rapped for, but she very vocal. You know, in the hip hop industry, and she always Jaguar Wright. And she was saying how she made this statement. You know, she said to go from having 4 billion to now you like 400 million. If that's the best you could do, you know, because you know, at the end of the day, how much money is enough money? You as a so-called black man, you know, as an Israelite man, you already see that you oppressed, and he sees that. And it's only so much he gonna be able to do. Is he really gonna take a stand and just expose everything for Yahweh Shem Yahshua? You know, this man don't even understand the doctrine completely. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't know what the Lord using that man for, but you know, everybody's set up to play the role that they're set up to play. So I got another article, and they're going to do Yahweh Shem Yahshua's will. That's the book of Sirach, chapter 18. All things obey the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. It says FBI releases files on Trump's apartment's race discrimination probe in the 70s. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Most people, you know, like say, if the father feels some kind of way towards a nation, you know, the more than likely the son is. You know what I mean? And when you go into the word racist, the word racist simply means for your race. You know, I will consider myself a racist, you know, because I love my people. I mean, I know 2/3 of them ain't gonna get it right, so you know they're gonna have to be cleansed on this side and come back as a newborn babe in the kingdom. Because our people will be a complete demon to their own people, but sit up there and you know you got to remember. Just last year they was talking about niggas for Trump. This nigga's throwing up 666 right in your face. It says the FBI has released nearly 400 pages of records on an investigation the Bureau conducted in the 1970s into alleged racial discrimination in the rental of apartments from President Donald Trump's real estate company. The file details dozens of interviews the Bureau conducted with Trump's building tenants, management, and employees seeking indication that minority tenants were steered away from housing complexes. Most of those interviews said they were not aware of any discrimination. However, some of the records recount the stories of black rental applicants who said they were told no apartments were available while whites sent to check on the same apartments were offered leases. Enough said, proving my point. This devil, you know, literally, like I said, if his father got caught up in a whole Ku Klux Klan riot, and then, like I said, when you pay attention to his demeanor, like, you could tell he think that, you fucking nigga, what are you talking to me? But he'll make some money off of a nigga all day. You know, in scripture, I forget where it's at, but I know it's in the Apocrypha, but it talks about if you have need for, I think it's in the book of Ecclesiasticus. He talks about he'll use thee if he had need of you. So yeah, you know what I mean? You know, shit, he the same one that pardoned some of these celebrities, you know what I mean? Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, you know. Why you think he did that? Because these celebrities work for the system too. They just don't realize it like that. So, with that being said, I'm going to get some scriptures. You know, ultimately, all the nations hate you. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 18. It's like Ezekiel chapter 15 and verse 6, and it reads, Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, power as the vine tree among the trees of the forest, which I have given to the fire for farewell, Salakia, which I have given to the fire for fuel, so will I give the inhabitants of Israel. So, you know, the Lord put us in a position because of our disobedience, you know, surrounded by these nations that hate us. You know, we were given over into this devil's hands. You know, when you go into the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, goes into where's say that's some bullshit. So like you. Says Deuteronomy 28:25, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee several ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, which our people are scattered throughout the whole planet. You know, Just because you look like a certain nation of people doesn't necessarily mean that you are of those people. You know, the scripture tell you in the book of Romans that pretty much the spirit beareth women, so like it, the spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we're the children of the Most High. The Lord shall bring thee and thy kings, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. So those going into the different captivities, because we were taken into different captivities from the Moabites to that's where you get the Great Wall of China, because Israelites helped build that, to the Egyptians and to these Edomites. Ultimately, at the end, that was the last major captivity. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Where is it? Verse 20, Deuteronomy 28 and 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Verse 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee. So, and that's how you know who the Israelites are, because the Lord said it was going to be certain curses that were going to be on the Israelites. And so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians basically are looked at as bywords, and we are looked upon. That's. We are put in a low position. That's why, they look at so-called blacks, they say, well, damn, blacks can't even get along with one another. Well, that's part of the curses. Verse 49, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue that thou shalt not understand. And we didn't understand the Latin that those devils were speaking, and who symbolizes the eagle as their symbol. You had the Romans do it. You had the Greeks do it, and ultimately America, the American bald eagle. Verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. When you go into the history of the transatlantic slave trade, that was a brutal history. When you go into the Trail of Tears, how they made the Gadites walk from a whole fucking other state. Women, children, and all. Old and young and all. This is the book back in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. And the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake upon thee. And when you go into the word Egypt, it means bondage, So when you go into, the history and the scriptures about how we went into Egypt the first time, we didn't go into Egypt on ships. So it said we bring you into Egypt again on ships. This is the modern day Egypt. That's why when you go to the book of Revelations, it talk about Egypt and Sodom. And, we all know what sodomy is, So what is this place is promoting? At the LGBTQ and all that. And, again, Egypt simply means bondage. This place actually has pyramids in it. When you go into Tennessee, look at all the names of ancient Egypt that Tennessee has. I think it's an Egypt, Tennessee. I know it's a Memphis, Tennessee. And look how wicked Memphis is. But ultimately, like I said, it's all the nations is pretty much against you so-called Israelites. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1. The Psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. There's that word hate again. But yet it's still, you'll have Christians talking about everything is love. You know how many times the word hate is mentioned in the Bible? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And when you have all these different summits that they have, that's pretty much all these nations, but who's the nation that represent you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians? God's chosen people. You niggas ain't got no representation at these G20 summits and, these Bilderberg meetings. What do you think is the purpose of that? What's that last major meeting they just had? The brother said right after that, all these YouTube channels start getting clipped. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Meaning they are in league together against you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminoles, Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. And then you see just a complete list of nations. You niggas that really think that this Ishmaelite love you because he let you get a beer. Man, listen, I know that Ishmael don't like. Now you got some that might fuck with you, and then just because some look like Ishmael, they might be Jake. You gotta remember, Jake is everywhere. You know what I mean? I grew up around some Muslims, and these wasn't like the regular Muslims. Like, them niggas used to front niggas weed and dope and all kind of shit. Like, a real Muslim that really hate Jake. I heard of an incident where they locked the nigga in the store for trying to steal and beat his ass until the fucking police came. So, it's a whole different spirit when just like when you meet a real Edomite does not like Jake. I've met real Edomites. So for a nigga to sit up there and say, it ain't no racism. You know how racist Cleveland is? The fuck is you talking about? That show you the Lord ain't showed you shit. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 12 and verse 9, and it reads, my inheritance is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. So Israel, like I was just saying, is going to come looking like every nation. So for those black only Israelites and Old Testament Israelites, like Paul was a pretty much apostle to the Gentiles. That show you how the Lord set up everything purposely. So Paul was amongst people that didn't look like Israelites. That show you how people don't have no understanding of the Bible, though. It says, come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour her. So pretty much all those nations, again, are against us. And again, going into the time of Jacob's trouble, when it says to come to devour, because, the time of Jacob's trouble was Jacob was going to be in trouble. But like the elder Mawatazak from Ancient Days was just saying, Jacob's trouble ain't just Jacob's trouble. It's going to be Esau's trouble too. And he made mention of Isaiah chapter 14 as the chase road. Because you got to understand, Jacob's trouble is going to be a great time of violence on the earth. So, everybody going to be in trouble. But more so you niggas. Saying like niggas because that's the 2/3 of our people, you know what I mean? Although niggard or, when you go into nigger or Niger, it's Niger, basically was a man of color. Like it says, but the point being, like I said again, the time of Jacob's trouble is going to be pretty much to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. And that's why you got, Joey B sitting up there making a statement about, the times is coming, it's going to be more detrimental to those that are a low income. And he's saying that pretty much to say what I was saying, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Central Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. You know, y'all are the poor and downtrodden. Y'all, you know, is Jake on a low scale, you know. You know, but you go into what was that, Egypt, they talk about the ghettos to be pushed in the corner. Who mostly stays in the ghettos? You so-called niggas and you Hispanics. You know, I can go to a few ghettos and you know you go see who you go know who you go see. You see who lives in this area, and it be the impoverished areas like East Cleveland. You know, we always mention that because brothers are labeled at the worst city in Cleveland, but that was once one of the wealthiest cities in Cleveland. So to go from the wealthiest city in the whole fucking country, because now that I take that back, I think it was the wealthiest city in the country because that was where Rockefeller, the first billionaire, pretty much chose to reside. So when you go back to when Rockefeller was alive and when they had something like that the other cities didn't have. That's why they had the first movie theater. They had the first, man, East Cleveland had a lot of little shit. And now, like I said again, you go through it, all you gonna do is see niggas. And if you see an Edomite out there, he might be a nigga. He might be a Jake. It's the book of so even though, like I said, the Lord got in these nations' spirit to hate us, and it's gonna be a time of Jacob's trouble. The Lord is gonna actually like make everything right because, again, this is the movie of the most high of the Heavenly Father. You know what I mean? So for all the nations that hated us and had their hand against us, judgment is going to befall them. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, Behold, the day of the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh, shall come up, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Verse 3, Then shall the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh shall go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. The scriptures talk about wait upon the Lord, he shall fight for thee. Yeah. And those that are truly in the spirit understand that completely. We can't do nothing about this fight. Our fight isn't a carnal fight. Our fight is a spiritual fight. Scriptures talk about a spiritual man and a carnal man. Esau's blessing is a carnal blessing, and Jacob's blessing was a spiritual one. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Central Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, before, that day of Jacob's trouble, or you will be, going to get caught up out there, like the elder apostle Tahar said, going to get caught out there. And you get caught out there and the Lord ain't with you. I mean, like, shit. So with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Allah, like Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Chakodas Ratham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, not more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, I'm able to cover another lesson. I say shalom, shalom, and Kwam Riyah Sharala. Shalom.